Yo, what is up, guys? Back at it again with another video. Man, my throat is gone. Been in a long day. 5 rounds again. We went undefeated again. 15-0 right now. 3 weeks in a row. We're killing it. Yeah, it's doing really well. So this list was it's still Deep Sea King Turbo. I did think about playing the no Deep Sea King and trying out Deep Sea Diva, but I decided that I wanted to win and I didn't want to lose the cards like Dweller and Droll, and I wanted to have the best matchup possible for those decks. So in turn, I decided that Deep Sea King was still necessary, and I still think that while the no Deep Sea King did perform well, and it definitely shows that you can play that version, I still think this is the correct way to play. So I didn't want to mess with it. I didn't want to waste time testing out a version that I didn't think was going to be successful when I have a regional coming up and I want to prepare my preferred list for that. So yeah, so we went undefeated. My rounds today were round 1. This was the more roguish day, I guess, for sure. So, but this deck performed. My deck today performed better than my last 2 weeks, but I also faced more rogue matchups. So hard to say, and so I'm not sure. This list will need more time, for sure. But yeah. So for the most part, I went second the whole day today. And round 1, I played against Ritual Beast. Round 2, I played against Brandon. Round 3, I played against Pure Ryziel. Round 4, I played against Rescue Ace, and round 5, I played against Malice. So those are my rounds. So a lot more rogue for sure, but the deck still performed really well, really strong. Obviously, I don't know if it would have been different versus other matchups, but I felt really confident with the deck today, and it honestly performed awesome. So yeah, we'll get into the list. The list is today. It was 43 cards, so I did leave the 40 count behind. I would like to play 40, and I'll go over the cards that would have made it 40 when I get there. But yeah, we'll just start hopping in. So first, Atlanteans played triple Neptibus, 1 infantry, triple shrine, and triple dragoons. For the little Atlanteans, nothing much to say here. These are all the cards you max out on. You don't need more than 1 infantry. This is just standard, so no real point in talking about this. Also, I played double Poseidra. Yeah, so 3 is definitely not necessary, although I do like 3, and I haven't completely phased it out yet. 3 Poseidra might still get tested again in the main deck, but 2 Poseidra was great. I think. And I don't think there's ever a moment where I needed the 3rd one, but it does help with the grind for sure. Where I can say that this list felt like the most glass cannon version. I guess my list, the version I've been playing for the past few weeks, have all been somewhat glass cannon. The follow up isn't as strong as other versions that might play cards like Triana, but it still performed really well, and I'm still very happy with how the list is doing. So I don't feel a need to play cards like Triana, even though there were times today where maybe I would need to follow up. I was winning anyways, so it never ended up mattering. But yeah, 2 Poseidra was great. Obviously, this card is this is the card of the deck. It's absolutely insane. Next on the Mermails, I played 2 Abisteus, 3 Pike, and 3 Squad. So we are lowering the Mermail count even more. Obviously, you still have to play 3 Squad. There's no discussion here. We still have to play 3 Pike because it is a starter. It gets us a shrine, as well as mainly it's the Deep Sea King. That's how you're summoning all your fishes. So we're still playing 3 Pikes, and yeah, only 2 Teus. So the reason for wanting to do 2 Teus was because the deck had to start breaking out of the 40 card count. And with that, originally you would think, oh, you should be maxing out on cards like Teus, so you're more consistently getting to shrine. That is true in some regard, but we also need to take into account that our Pikes and Teuses they kind of do the exact same thing. And so basically I'm looking at Pike and Teus as one card, or one type of card. Though the same way you might look at as like Cross Out and Call By as 4 cards that allow you to keep playing through hand traps. These are 5 cards that allow you to get through Shine and discard to activate effects. And yeah, so that's kind of how I treated these. So I felt like the 5 was actually really great. You also don't want to open multiple hands of like multiple Teus and Pikes. And another thing was, even though, yes, you can add a third Teus, go to 44, technically the deck gets more consistent. It really doesn't, because really you want to be as low as 40 as possible, because you want to be opening, really the only cards you want to be opening are Dragoons, Squad, and your Triple Prince. These are like the best cards in your deck, and so as you start playing more cards than 40, you find it harder to open your true discard outlets, Dragoons and Squad and Prince, and then by playing more Teus, playing more Poseidras, playing more cards like Pike, Minstrel, all these cards do is just discard, and while it's still beneficial, it still has you to play, it doesn't actually help with the problem of the deck, where your deck is basically based around opening your 6 discard outlets and your 3 starters. So by playing more discard outlets, it wasn't making it any more consistent to open the discardees themselves, being Dragoons and Squad. So I really liked two tastes today. It was really nice. Next, I play whatever its name is, Deep Sea King, and I play the fish target, the Gluttonous. Gluttonous is insane. We're definitely playing this card in the Deep Sea variant. This card's super strong. I abuse this card all day, multiple times, like especially going second, extending, summoning back extra waters, summoning back level 4, summoning back level 3s, and I think what was the issue with this card before was I wasn't playing some of the synchros you need to play to like really turn this card on, which I was doing today and felt really nice. So these cards were a very nice addition. Or, well, this card was an addition as the last week, and it's definitely staying going forward. Next, I just played the one minstrel. You know, it's a searchable out for Nibiru, and like, yeah, you like to play 3, but you just can't risk it. You need to be, the deck has to be built to go second at all times, because going first is just already broken. And so I'm not too worried about like going first hands, and you know, game ones are pretty smooth in this deck when you do win the roll. And I want it to be as smooth as possible when going second. So then for my last waters, I did play Mulan and Statue today. I wanted to test out Mulan. I did give respect to a couple aspects. So first of all, if you play Statue and your opponent lances you can't actually summon the Statue anymore, because yes, they'll turn off Minstrel, but more importantly, since you can't Minstrel them, you can't put a banish card back to summon Statue. So I wanted a way to I wanted to be able to counter that. Also, there are times where you have to pivot between the two, and you can't always do both, or you can't always do one, and I wanted the other option available. I was aware that, and I will say that Mulan was actually pretty weak today. I think he came up once going second, but I didn't even have any cards to discard, so it wasn't even like that strong. But again, I played against Rogue today, so it's still hard to say where Mulan lies. Although I can definitely say, based off today and the matches that we will go over, this card did not feel necessary. So I'm in a very hard spot with Mulan. The other cool part about Mulan is that if you get Blue Rost, this is a much easier line to get into. You go for the Mulan rather than going for Statue. You just give them less draws. But I'm not even sold on that yet. Like, it might just be better to go for Statue anyways. But yeah, these two cards are super strong. Statue was insane today. Statue is broken, guys. It's like, people do not have outs for this card, and you can set it up going second. I did that multiple times today. Insane. And then I played 1-for-1. This was the 43rd card. I put this in last second, just thinking, okay, I'm playing hand traps, and I am playing over 40, so I should add additional consistency to get to Prince. I think that logic flies, and I think it's probably correct to play this. Although I definitely don't like it, and I would like to be able to cut it, but I think when you start going over 40, you probably should put this in just to get that extra bonus little consistency, especially for the hands that where you might open 4 hand traps and then just a 1-for-1. It'd be nice to have the option to attempt to play rather than not play at all. Yeah, so that was the engine, and now for the non-engine, I played 3 Nibiru, 3 Prulia, 2 Fluoros in the main, played triple Ash, triple Imperm, and triple Impulse. Now, the reasoning for wanting to play multiple hand traps today was I always come back to the same spot where it's, how do we deal with Malice? How do we deal with Shifter? And my answer to that was, let's just main the hand traps that do deal with Malice, being Impulse and Nibiru. So, and Fluoros. Fluoros was my 41st and 42nd card. I did have a place for these in the side deck, and I did want to side these originally and just play, and then go to 40 and then just play this 15. But I felt like by doing that, removing Fluoros, it's just so broken. Going first game ones, I can't cut the Perulias because they're a water, and they help with the synergy and they help with consistency. So I find that Perulia is too important to cut. I just think they're integrated into the deck, at least with this current meta where there's a lot of summonings happening from hand. And then with Fluoros, it does help with that. Malice matchup, as well as it helps with just any rogue strategy, honestly, every deck. Fluoros is great against every deck. So yeah, I decided to still play it, risk playing the higher deck count, and it was amazing. You know, anytime you open a Charming, you feel super safe. I did decide to play the Imperms and Ashes because they're hand traps, so the Imperms gain more value when you play them with Nib, and then they also gain value due to, you know, being able to hit detonators, being able to hit dwellers for sure, and then just being and another really cool part about playing the Charmies is that when you play the Charmies and then you play hand traps you can draw into, they feel a lot more threatening. Before, when I would play maybe the Charmies and like Impulses and just droplets, I would notice that my Charmies don't really provide any presence. That, like, I'm not drawing anything that's going to stop my opponent from playing. And so the Charmies added a lot of value to all these hand traps because you're basically drawing into all of them, and I did that multiple times a day. Nibiru was not that very strong of a card, but in theory it can be very strong and it can save you. And so I didn't hate it. I didn't love it either. Yeah, I think this hand trap lineup was fine. Maybe the Nibiru's become something else, but I like having something that can just end up opponent's turn, as well as the Nibiru's are mainly here for Malice, which is what I'm mostly afraid of. But yeah, this hand trap lineup felt really solid. If I did have the third Fluros, I probably would have just played it. I probably would have played the third Fluros in the main and played a 44 card list. Yeah, that's probably the move. Although the way this felt, I do not feel like I needed the 6 Charmy. But this was a great non-engine lineup, and it serves its purpose all day. And yeah, so very, very happy with the non-engine this deck. Very happy with the main engine deck. Honestly, the deck did amazing today, and I need to go back and watch my matches as always. But yeah, I was very happy. So going into the extra deck for our links, we just play the 3 still. The 1 King, the 1 Lacia, the 1 Coral. All of these come up. They're super important. Next in the rank 7 XEs, we just play one of each 3. This is standard as well, so not much to talk about here. All 3 of them came up today. Gaios comes up the least amount. It's pretty standard. Next for rank 4s, I played 2 Bahamut and 1 Dweller. I cut Kraken because I had put in some other new cards I wanted to try out. And another theory I had was I didn't want to play cards like Kraken that are mainly just here for when you get shiftered. I wanted my game plan for game 1 shifters to literally just be, I better have enough hand traps, because trying to just open Shrine is really bad under shifter because you end up having to use Shrine, use a card from your hand to get to Deep Sea King, so you pay 2 cards for the shifter, they're banished, and then the discard from Deep Sea King also gets banished. So you go down to a 2 card hand, and your opponent can't hand trap you, or you just lost all those resources for nothing. And yeah, did not feel that great. So I decided that I will forego the Kraken and just accept that, and then have a heavy hand trap lineup and just interact with my opponent on their turn, and then when it comes back to me, I can then finally play. And I can't remember exactly how my matches went, but I think that is what somewhat happened today. But then yeah, we do play the Dweller because you still need the extra rank 4. It comes up for M boards. It comes up versus Fiendsmith. That's another reason that Kraken was here. Kraken is really good against Fiendsmith for sure, but Dweller kind of does the same thing, so they kind of fill the same role, except this one's a little bit better against everything else, and Kraken's just better under Shifter. And as I previously spoke, I decided I did not need the Kraken as well, and I did not miss it. Next, I played Double Totally Awesome as well, obviously, and then no Levy, just couldn't fit it and didn't need it because of the synchros I played were just a lot stronger. Next, I played the Gamir, I played Donna, I played Monoceros, and I played Porpoise for my synchros. So these cards were crazy. The Gamir actually never came up today. In theory, it can't come up, but without playing Rand, this card feels a lot weaker. And this is the current flex spot of the deck. It's unfortunate, but it looks like the level 10 Synchro, it might be phasing out for me. I just don't know how often it will come up without playing the Rand. You know, just getting a Minstrel on board plus another guy is just, it's not common, but it can't come up, especially with multiple level 7 Synchros. So I'm not completely hating on it. The only card that the Gamir might become is a Typhon. Playing Typhon wouldn't be that bad either, especially if you're playing multiple hand traps and you're playing into a detonator board, maybe like a detonator Dweller. You can go like Typhon and then send back the detonator, attack over the Dweller, and then, you know, from there you can, you know, hope to live another turn, and then play again. But then for the main stars of the show here, Donna was obviously insane. This is good going second because I summoned Dragoons off this. It's good going first because you're summoning Statue. This card's obviously insane. Also being able to shuffle back banished cards is pretty cool in Center Graveyard. So we already know about Thick Donna. Next, the White Aura cards. These cards were popping today. Monoceros more than Porpoise, but both very strong. Just this is like the much stronger way, I feel like, of utilizing your summon backs off of Poseidra over a card like Levy, or any other rank 3, like the one that's like there's like a rank 3 that adds a counter trap. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, the only hard part about these cards is that you run out of the monster zone spaces so easily that it can be tough to manage that, but once you get there, it's pretty awesome, and these cards just allow you to just cycle the kind of levels you need, the bodies you need, the attack points you need, multiple rank 4s, turns on a lot of your water cards. These cards perform really well, and I can't wait to show off these in the feature matches. Like I said, this one came up more than Porpoise. I think Porpoise came up once or twice today, but when it does, it's insane. And then Monoceros came up. I used it almost every game that I was able to play long enough to get to it. So yeah, that was the extra deck. And then the side deck was very strong today. Very happy with the side deck. So we played triple Lancia, and we played the single Meowth Charmy. This was mainly here for Malice, obviously. Yeah, and so like these are the focal points, hand traps for me. When I would side these in versus Malice, I would typically side out the Imperms, and I'd probably side out the Moulin, keeping in the Charmies, even the Perulias. I would keep in the Perulias because I want to just get, because I don't care what I get, I just need to get draws in some way, shape, or form, and whether through Bestials or through maybe a Fiendsmith normal or a Malice normal, just obtaining more draws was nice. I don't think it actually ever came up. I never actually saw Perulia versus that deck, but yeah, I didn't hate it. And yeah, so put that back. Yeah, so I played these today. I still have not seen this yet. I saw Lancia versus Malice. Not like it didn't matter, but it would have been cool if it did. Next, I played double Minstrel and Call by on the side. So I chose to, well, I guess I'll go over that next. So I wanted, consistency cards that also allow me just to play through Droll, and as well as Call by just being just a goated card that can deal with Shifter, can deal with Droll. Very nice. I never really sided in going second. These cards never got sided in going second, and I also never side out my single Minstrel going second either. You always have to have the Minstrel because you have to be able to check for the nib before you go for game. But yeah, so these cards perform really well, obviously. Just adds more consistency and protection for the deck when you're playing first. I did not see Call by today, but I also didn't go first very often today. I lost almost all my rolls, and I 2-0'd most of the day. Next, I played one Harpy, double Lightning Storm. So I was actually talking to a guy in the Facebook group, and he was talking about respecting certain cards and maybe still playing these. And at first, I was thinking, no, I don't think you can make room for these. I don't think, and technically you can't if you want to play a different card instead. But I do, so what I also noticed too is that I was starting to get targeted sides, that people were starting to put in fissures for my deck, and I also found out that I have a player who was putting in soul drains versus my deck, and that was deck lockdowns. So I wanted to be prepared for these floodgate type cards, and I think they are important, and I think there's also kind of nice versus Pure Rizal. Playing against Pure Rizal, I actually decided to cut the nibs from the main deck, cut the nibs and impulses to main these instead. And I would also side in my double droplet and XE and triple XE Encore as well for that matchup. But yeah, I didn't end up seeing these today, but in theory they would have been nice, and it's good for the floodgates, as well as I also play against like Rescue Ace, and that's just like these just randomly come up versus them. And yeah, so I think it is nice to play these, and what I played these in lieu of was actually Cross Out. So originally, this was a triple Crossout. My two droplets were Droll and Shifter. Those are my Crossout targets. And originally, I felt like you do have to play Crossout, and you do just have to have it. But here's the thing: when it comes to Droll, we have Minstrel, we have Call by, and we can also just play around it outright with the Shrine. I got Droll today. It almost never matters, and if you have a playable hand, it shouldn't matter. And you just need to change your play style to play around Droll, because it's permanently gonna be in the game, and we're gonna see it all the time. Especially as this deck is more popular. Just got top 4 at the YCS in Birmingham today. People are going to be respecting this deck like nobody's business, and so we need to prepare for that. But I don't think you need to play Cross Out. I think at least in this variant where you're playing all the hand traps, while Cross Out is nice versus the Charmies, it also forces you to play a bunch of awkward hands, and instead of playing hand traps that deal with your opponent when they stop you, you're just playing a bunch of irrelevant cards like, a Perulia going first, or Fluros going first, or, Shifter Droll. It's like these cards are very awkward, and it's like you're definitely going to open those, or you might open Cross Out with no playable hands. I'd rather just have more engine or non-engine to deal with my opponent when they stop me. It's like, our opponent is trying to get us to pass turn on nothing. Well, I want my hand traps to back that up, so then we can make them skip their turn and come back to us. That was the way I was playing today, and so I decided to cut the crossouts. And in terms of Shifter, it was the same logic. I would put in a bunch. I would actually keep in some of the Charmies versus Malice game 1. After sighting, when I go first, I would keep in some of the Charmies, because the idea is if they Shifter me and I just open a Charmy or a couple of hand traps, it's fine, because I'll just pass play. I'll drop a Charmy on their turn. If they want to play, I'll draw into my nib, my impulses, my imperms, my Lancias, my ashes, and then just make them skip right back to me. And that felt really strong today. And Droll is like an irrelevant card that I'm really just not too worried about. So yeah, I really like these, and I think these can come in place in lieu of the crossouts. It felt really nice. It also frees up the side deck, because now we're just playing a bunch of value cards rather than playing, just bricks, like absolute bricks. Shifters roll absolute bricks. Crossout as well. It doesn't actually let you play the game at all. And it's not nearly as strong as call by in terms of just setting and passing. So yeah, I really like these today. And then yeah, I played double droplet and triple encore. Originally it was just encore because the single disruption value is stronger than the droplet when you're not maining the droplets, I think. But the droplet's still very strong, and I wanted to have, since I was playing over 40 and cutting the crossout targets, being able to max out on more copies of ways to deal with Dweller or detonators, or just, generic cards as well. Like droplet is very strong against just like, random generic decks that might have problems for you to deal with. These cards are very nice outs for those. So yeah, the side deck felt phenomenal today. The side deck might even just stay card for card. The side deck felt very, very strong. I was very happy with this list today. It felt like everything really came together. It felt like the deck moved very fluidy. I think I maybe fluidy. I don't think there's a real word, but I may have bricked once or twice today. But if you're ever breaking with this deck, it just means that you're opening non-engine, just forcing your opponent not to play, and then the turn comes back to you, and then you're just fine. So yeah, I'm very happy with this list today. Cannot wait to post matches. Again, there were more rogue decks, so we will have this deck tested again next weekend. I'm not sure if we'll stay the exact same. Some cards might get cut, although I don't know. This list felt pretty cemented for me. Very interesting to see how the meta continues to evolve, how people start to deal with water, and if we need to make deck choices. But I would highly recommend playing a list of this version. I do still think cards like Moulin are probably not necessary. I do think, and so what I was thinking, instead of playing the droplets, was actually siding the two Fluoros and going a little bit down on the non-engine, and then therefore I also would not be playing 1-for-1, and I'd play just straight 40. That seemed pretty cool too. I don't think I want to do that. I think the Fluoros really did prove themselves, because it's just important to have that game one going second, and honestly going second feels better than going first nowadays, and I'm sure we've all been feeling that, but it is true. Going second, it feels very, very strong right now. But yeah, the non-engine felt really strong. The engine felt really strong. The two Teus I'm still pretty happy with. Yeah, the deck performed amazing. So can't wait to show my games off. Happy Water Day. You get in top 4 at the YCS, a bunch of topping lists. It's very exciting. Also, that top 4 list was not playing Moulin, playing Barrier Statue. That's the way I like it. Very happy to see that. I hope whoever that was, Niles, I think, man, dude, I hope you checked out the channel. If you did, put a shout out in the comments somewhere. I want to see you. But yeah, all right, that's it. Peace.